Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to today's video. I'm going to be sharing with you my birth story today, okay? So, yes, today is my birth story video, and I am baby carrying right now, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call it, but I'm carrying my baby right now, Samaya. And if you're wondering what wrap I'm using, I'm not gonna stand up all the way, but because she's sleeping. But I'm using the Moby, and I think this is the. I'll get the box before this video is over, but I love this. I have the Ninja, and I also have another carrier. I have 3 carriers, and this is my favorite one so far. And I think it's just because the Ninja, she's too small for. She was born at 5 pounds 4 ounces, so she's not that big yet. So she is bigger now, but still not big enough for the Ninja. So she doesn't fit the weight requirements, and she barely fits the weight requirements for my second carrier. So she's just small. But hopping into the birth story. So how it started out. Actually, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, okay? But also, I think that this is going to be a long one, longer than my normal video. I'm not gonna say like it's gonna be like a whole hour or something, but it is gonna be longer than my normal videos. And I'm gonna be rocking back and forth. I may stop, but she likes motion. And yeah, so first things first, I think I didn't know. Okay, I assumed that I was gonna know what contractions were. Let me start there. So she is a Mother's Day gift to me, and yeah, she's a Mother's Day baby. So I, not on actual Mother's Day, but I went into labor on Mother's Day. So, but she was born the day after, like right when that day started, at 12:50 on the 10th, sorry. So that's why I said she's a Mother's Day baby, just because I went into labor on Mother's Day. So that was like my Mother's Day gift. And I didn't really celebrate, like I wasn't celebrated on Mother's Day. I really think that my Mother's Day is going to be this coming Mother's Day, like the one coming up now that she's born. But I went into labor on the 9th, so May 9th, and I was so caught off guard because like a week beforehand I was having 2 weeks actually. For like 2 weeks I was having Braxton Hicks, and I thought I was going into labor then. And I have that in some of my update videos, like the weeks leading up to my labor and delivery. So check those out. I'll have those in the description of this video. But I thought those were it. And then I was like, okay, I found out they're Braxton Hicks at my doctor's appointment. And I thought that they were, but then I was like, wait, they might be real contractions. And they weren't. So, yes. I was like, oh my goodness, this feels real. But then they would stop, and I couldn't time them or anything. So like, this is like pre-labor pains or whatever. So fast forward to 3 days before I go into labor. 2 days, I'm gonna say 2 days. 2 days before I go into labor, I start getting so many like surges to my pelvic area. More pressure than I had ever felt during the entire pregnancy. So I was like, okay, I'm going into labor soon. I didn't think that it was going to be Mother's Day. I was like, I have at least a week. I thought I was going to go into labor around the 20th. And I was only like a few days before my due date. I delivered a few days before my due date, just a few days. So I was full term. I just thought I was gonna deliver later on. That's what I was assuming with my body and how it was going. But then it sped up fast, how they say that it can. So I was like, oh no, maybe I'm wrong. Because now I'm feeling all these Braxton Hicks, and then 3 days before I felt the urge to like clean or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm going into labor because it's one of the symptoms. Feeling like you need to clean, having so much pressure, feeling like you can't sleep, or extra tired. So it's either or, like you can't sleep or you're extra tired. So 2 nights before I went into labor, I could not breathe as normal as usual. And I also couldn't sleep at all. It was that much pressure that I couldn't get comfortable. So I was just up. And I was in so much pressure. Like I had so much pressure in my pelvic area that I was just like, this is happening. I was just so excited, but then I was also nervous because I didn't know if it was okay that was happening. It's like, it's not contractions. So is this normal, just okay to be happening? But I was reassured that it was normal, it was okay. And I just had to breathe it out. So meditation really helped me. I was just calm after that. I was like, okay, it's gonna be some pressure down there for the next until I give birth. So let me just breathe through it. Because if I can't breathe through this, how am I gonna breathe through my natural labor? Okay. So I was like, okay, just breathe, meditate and breathe, meditate and breathe. And that's what I did. And then I was trying not to use the word painful, so I was calling it surges. So I'll say, it'll be on the screen. So when I say surge, it means pain, but I was refraining from using that word to keep myself calm and to not get me really anxious. So I was like, oh my goodness, there's more surges. There's more surges. Now we're at the day before Mother's Day, the day before I went into labor. Mind you, I'm working out every day the same throughout my entire pregnancy, maybe 1 day off a week from working out, but I'm walking every day, every morning, the same, working out plus my walk every day, and nothing, I'm still doing that. The day that I went into labor, I worked out. Even with the pressure and the surges and everything, I still worked out. I was like, they said continue your normal everything. So I did. And even with the Braxton Hicks and everything. And so I was like, okay. Everyone around me was like, you're gonna go into labor. You're gonna go into labor. You are gonna go into labor. And I was like, no. This is what it says on my app, and this is what I've learned. So the doctor said that I'm gonna be fine. I probably won't go into labor until next week. No. I was just preparing my mind, like, I still have a week left. I have some days. So I was so calm. I was so calm, so calm. I even cooked on Mother's Day. I was standing up all day and everything. And then let's fast forward to the middle of the day or the evening. No, let's say afternoon, evening, and I started having contractions. And I could time them. And it just happened like that. Like, it just happened that fast. Let me tell you. People say that labor is painful. I don't hear a lot of women talk about contractions. And maybe they just tie it all together, like labor and delivery. It's just painful. Okay? The surges were something I've never felt in my entire life. The contractions were, and when these ones came, I was still like, I'm not going into labor. I was still not convinced. I was like, whew, I was breathing through them. I was timing them still, but they still weren't at the time where the doctor said. They weren't like 3 minutes apart for like a whole hour, or 2 minutes apart for like a whole hour, or whatever. I'll have what my doctor said on the screen. But they weren't enough for me to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going into labor. Nope, I still wasn't convinced. I was like, okay, I can breathe through these. I was breathing through them, cooking, breathing through them, preparing food, making plates, walking around, breathing through them. They were like, if you can hold a conversation and continue to do what you're doing, you're not like in labor to where you need to go to the hospital. So I was like, okay, if I am in labor, I'm not that far into labor because I was told, and I wanted to anyways, labor at home for as long as I possibly can, as long as I possibly could, and that's what I did. So I was like, nope, I'm just gonna breeze through all of these surges. They're the most intense thing I've ever felt in my life, but I'm gonna breeze through them. This is so exciting. I can do this. And then they really got intense, and I was like, okay, you can do this. You don't need medication. You've been wanting to do this naturally. So then that's when I had to put on my hypnobirthing. When my headphones got on, when I put my headphones on, and it was like, this is now Mother's Day night. Okay? And they were going on for about, I want to say 3 hours, 4 hours of contractions at home. And maybe just 3, but it felt like 4. But I want to say that. And I could be wrong about the amount of hours. But I know I went to the hospital around 10 or 9 something. And I was feeling them from about, like, being able to time them, like really time them. I wasn't having them that long before I went to the hospital. It was like an hour, maybe 2 or 3. That's the maximum I gave it. It's like 3 hours of timing them. But, rewind a little bit. The day before that, when I was feeling all the pressure, I did get in the shower, and that really helped. I did a lot of, and all my workouts 3 weeks prior to this were on my ball, my pregnancy ball, my birthing ball. And I was using my birthing ball ever since my first trimester anyways, but I really was doing intense workouts on there. And I think that's what pushed it into like full on labor, how it did. That's just my opinion. And then also my pregnancy tea, which I'll be doing a video on. So I'll be doing a video on my pregnancy tea and what I drank the entire pregnancy. So I'll be doing a video on that. But, so yes, now it is the night of Mother's Day, and I'm counting the contractions. Now I have my hypnobirthing in my ear, so I'm like, this is really, I think this might be it, but I don't think so. This is just something I'm gonna have to deal with until I go into real labor. But then they got closer. They got minutes apart, and I was breathing them through, and then it was like, it's time for you to go to the hospital, because they got to the time the doctor said. And I was like, no, not yet. I'm fine. I'm still able to walk around and talk to you and have a conversation, so I don't need to go. But then I started sitting down. I was having a conversation, but I was stopping every time to breathe. And they said when that happens, it's time for you to go to the hospital. But I wasn't ready to go yet. I was not ready to go yet because I was like, I think they can get more intense. I think the surgeries can get more intense before I leave. I don't think I need to leave yet. But I was told, leave. It's time to go. So Christopher and I left and arrived at the hospital. You can only have one person with you at the time still. I think that's still the case here in Florida, in Miami. So had to have a mask, of course. We were already packed and ready to go, and we arrive, get to the emergency room, which I didn't know I had to do. I thought like I knew that I had to go to the emergency room, but I didn't know what was getting ready to happen. I just thought they were gonna put me in a room and be like, you're in labor. I knew they had to check me, but my birthing plan had no cervical exams, which was irritating to me because I still got checked. But I got checked anyways because they said it's mandatory it's just mandatory for them to be able to admit you, which I know that I was told that by my doctor, but he said I could ask and once I arrived at the hospital, they could not do it, but the doctor who came in was like, no, we have to, it's mandatory. And I was like, okay. So they checked me, and I'm still breathing through the contractions, still lovely. And they checked me. I'm full of face, and they're like, yeah, you're really dilated, but let's hook you up to the monitors and check on you and baby, right? They admitted me. They were like, we're getting your room ready. They're like, you can definitely be admitted. And I was like, okay, yay. And then I was a little nervous because, like, oh my gosh, this is real. And then, you know, my partner was like, this is real. So yeah, this is happening. We're here. You're not going home. It's happening. So I was excited and happy. And then I got checked. And they were like, it looks like baby's heart rate is okay. It's a little elevated. Yours is a little elevated. Your blood pressure is rising. And they were like, has it been high lately? And I was like, in the past 2 weeks, yes. My doctor had said that my blood pressure was a little high. And I was like, okay, but it's been maintained, so what is it? And then I got to see what it was, and it wasn't that. It wasn't serious. But they said they needed to do blood work just in case. So they did. They took my blood, and I was a little anxious about that. Made me a little bit anxious because I was like, no, I don't want anything wrong. They came back and they're like, everything's fine. We're just going to keep you hooked up until we're ready for you to go to your room. And I was like, okay. And they're like, hopefully your BP goes down a little bit before you go up there. If not, there's no concern right now. Okay. So I was like, okay, cool. No concern right now. I'm so happy. I thought they were gonna let me walk to my room to like get things moving along more. Like when I get to my room, I'm gonna be able to push right when I get in the room. No, I had to be in a wheelchair. And the nurse was so amazing who took us to the room. She was like, but she gave me the best speech. Now, after my delivery and everything, it was the best speech ever. The best speech ever. And I needed it because she was like, you know, labor, you just have to be ready for the unexpected. Just have an open mind and just be positive about everything. And whatever's going to happen is meant to happen for you and your baby to stay healthy. So whatever your birth plan is, keep that in mind, but don't be so strict about it if it means that you and your baby won't be healthy. And just be open-minded to possibilities. And I was like, why is she saying this to me? But yeah, I need to hear it because I'm all about positivity. So I was like, but I was also like, my birth plan's gonna go perfect. Like, it's so far, this whole thing has gone exactly how I wanted. So I was like, thank you, but I think everything's gonna go as planned. And she was like, you just never know. I'm hoping for you that it does, but if it doesn't, just know I'm here and it's okay, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. My partner was like, that's so sweet. So we get in the room, they hook me up again to the monitors, and they're like, okay, your blood pressure is okay. You know, it's stabilized. You're having contractions. Oh, they're really coming. Okay, they're really coming. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get to push soon. I'm talking to my partner, excited about being able to push soon. Minutes later, literally, no joke, minutes later, I think maybe 10-15 minutes, contractions are getting stronger, getting closer. And I'm like so excited, thinking that a nurse is gonna come in and say, can we check you? And they're gonna be like, let's push. A nurse comes in and she's like, we've been seeing that baby's heart rate is raising, because I had been checked on like every 5 minutes at that time, and I think it was only like 15 minutes in the room. And so she had come in like 3 times, checked baby's heart rate, didn't say anything about it the first time or second, but the third time was like, baby's heart rate's a little elevated and she's not handling these contractions very well. And I was like, what does that mean? And she's like, she doesn't like them, her heart rate's dipping too low, she does not like them. And I was like, okay. And I was like, what does that mean? She's like, that means that not enough oxygen is getting to her brain, and with the past few contractions, she's been going without oxygen to her brain for 7 minutes. And I was like, huh? And they can see that on the monitor. And I was like, I was very concerned at that point. It was very alarming. And me and my partner were like, what? So what do we do? Like, can I start pushing now? And you're not ready. They're like, you're not ready to push yet. We're gonna wait a few minutes, see if it changes on its own. They literally waited, I think, like 5 minutes. A doctor came in with 2 other nurses and was like, we've monitored, we've waited. Since you've been in this room, baby's not liking it. We can only allow this for a certain amount of minutes. I was like, I've only been in the room for like 15, 20 minutes. And like, that's all they can allot. Anyway, that's all the time they can allot for the baby to even try to get back where she needs to be. And I was like, that makes sense. She's so small, and no oxygen to the brain. I don't like the way that sounds. And I was just like, okay. I was listening. My partner and I were both listening, like, okay, what do I do? Like, do I have to get some medication to help her low heart rate come back up? Because I'm down for that. They're like, no, we have to take you into surgery right now. And I knew when the only surgery that has to do with pregnancy is a C-section. So I was like, I took a deep breath, and then my partner started talking. I just went numb, like I was silent. I was listening, but I was silent. And they were like, Mom, Dad, we have to rush Mom into surgery to help Mom and baby be healthy and okay. We have to get her out now. And I was like, now? And then they started moving quickly. They had a nurse talking to me, talking about, if such and such and such, who do you want to save if this and this and this happens? Do you accept this, this, and this? And I'm like, what? What happens if, like, save baby, of course. And then, like, just all these different things that they were asking me was very alarming. But I was still a little, like, I was there, but I was just a little not there. I was there, but I was in shock. And my partner was talking mainly to the nurses and answering for both of us. And they were like prepping me while they're talking, taking my things off, putting things on me, changing the IV to something else, letting me know that I'm gonna have to get numbed in my back and that I'm going into surgery right now. My partner then started putting on a surgical outfit to be in the room, and I was like, this is happening so fast. It was literally minutes. And I was like, and then in the middle of them talking and me signing my name on the last form, I started crying. And I was like, I said to my partner, I have to have a C-section. And I just broke down. And I was crying. And the nurses were so sweet. They were like, we're so sorry. Everything's gonna be fine. This is an emergency C-section. This would not happen if this wasn't an emergency. We always want to push for a natural birth if that's what if mother wants and it's healthy for baby and mommy. But right now it's not healthy for either of you, especially not baby. And I was like, okay. So, and I just took a deep breath and I was like, whatever needs to happen, I said, like, literally, I was like, whatever needs to happen to save both her and I, but mainly her, let's do it. And if a C-section's the way, let's do it. I don't care about me. I just want her to be okay. And they were like, oh, right, let's get her. And then they started talking on, like, amongst each other. And then also my doctor came in, and I was so happy that the doctor, my OBGYN that I got to see my entire pregnancy, which I didn't think he was going to be there for my delivery, because he's so, like, he has a lot of patients, and he wasn't scheduled to be there that day, and he just was. And he came in the room, and I was just so happy. And he was like, I know we didn't plan for this, but everything's going to be okay. Joslin, everything's going to be okay. You are going to be fine. Baby's going to be fine. I have to get her out within 3 minutes. And I was like, huh? And I was like, is that serious? He's like, it's that serious. We're headed there, right? And I was like, there's no way. How are we going to? Like, once I got prepped, they had to get her out in that amount of time because they were already prepping me in my room. So I was already almost ready to go as soon as I hit the surgical room. So And my partner was so sweet. Just let me, I cried for like a moment and then was like, no, it's about her. This is about my daughter. Save her. And that's it. Like, so I was sad that I wasn't able to have a natural birth, but I'm going to do a whole video on that and like how I'm coping with it and how I mourned it. And for some that may not make sense, but it was a mourning because I planned my entire pregnancy around natural and then just had to, it really, without meditation and prayer and working on myself, I would not have been able to be so just clear-minded and positive about going into my C-section. So they wheel me in, I'm already pre-prepped, they give me the numbing, I get laid down, my partner's in the room ready, but we're not allowed to have our phones to videotape. And I should have said that at the beginning of this. Like, we weren't even allowed to, like, it was happening so fast that we weren't videotaping, but we were going to start videotaping in the room, but then we got that news. So then it was like, no. He was videotaping bits and pieces, and I'll have it inserted if I have them, but mainly just pictures and just talking to me, keeping me calm. And I had my phone on. I didn't have my phone, so I had my phone on, but it wasn't on me. It was with him too. And I was like, I'm just gonna stay calm. The lights were dim, and I was just meditating, just trying to stay calm through them telling me that. And then also, once I got in my head, okay, I'm headed down to the surgical room. So I was just staying in a meditative state and praying. So that's all I was doing. That's all I was thinking about. I wasn't focused on a camera or anything like that. I was just taking it all in, got prepped, got laid down. Literally, I was so relieved and felt so blessed and so grateful that I was blessed to be in a room full of doctors of color. And I was just, it was the most beautiful thing. I've never seen that many doctors of color at all. Like, my doctor is of color, but I had never been in a room, and there were women. Like, there were Hispanic women, there were Black women in there, and I think there was a different ethnicity in there, but it's just a room full of people of color, but women of color. The only male was my OB. So it was just beautiful, and I had never seen that in my life. And maybe it's just because I lived in Colorado, but I had never seen it, and I felt like, whoa. And a lot of people may not understand what it's like when I say seeing you or like someone of color like yourself being in a place where they are going to be able to take care of you or provide a service for you. It's just beautiful to see. Not saying that not seeing the other race is not, but there's a different feeling when you see a person of color in that job or in that profession, and then like they're over, like they are part of your team. And that was my birth team, and it was just beautiful to see when it helped me feel at ease too, and not so anxious, because Black women in America, I'll have the stat on the screen, they are not treated well when it comes to childbirth, and it's not okay at all. And that was a part of my birth plan. I had all that laid out, like I will be respected, my wishes will be respected no matter if it was a C-section or not. Like, and they did so beautiful at the hospital that I delivered at, and my whole birth team, I just thank them so much. They were wonderful. Oh my goodness. And I felt safe, and they let me talk to them the entire time. My esthetician, but my anesthesiologist and the other two doctors on the side were so sweet, and my doctor was so sweet. They were all sweet and prayed with me and just let me meditate and let me be me and say my things out loud. And I didn't know how it was going to go. I thought I was going to have to be put to sleep, and I was not put to sleep. It was a very beautiful experience, even though it was not natural. And I'm just so grateful for that. And he got her out. My doctor got her out in 2 minutes, I think, and it was like 47 seconds or something. And it was just so beautiful. I was nervous. I said to my partner as soon as I saw her come out, like, she's not crying. And I said to my doctor, she's not crying. And they're like, give it a moment, mommy. She's perfectly fine. She's perfectly healthy. She'll cry. And then my partner touched her and she cried. And it was just so beautiful. I got skin to skin contact right away, and so did dad. And it was just beautiful, and I was rushed down to recovery. I thanked all my doctors and nurses and the team before I was wheeled out, and it was just beautiful. I was put in recovery, and then she was brought to me, and I got to do skin to skin and breastfeed, and it was just beautiful. And she ended up having jaundice, so I couldn't only breastfeed. I was told that also, since she was small, I needed to get her weight up before she left the hospital, just a little bit. I think it was just like a half of, I think it was just, she didn't have to gain weight, she had to maintain her weight. And babies lose weight when they're born, so I had to make sure she was staying the same weight, that she was able to leave with the same weight that she was born with. So I had to do breastfeeding and half formula, also because she was jaundiced and had to be underneath the lights. But the whole experience in the hospital with the nurses and everything was beautiful. My birth plan was played out exactly how I said, with dim lights. I was interrupted more than I said in my birth plan, but that's the only thing, and it being a C-section. But everything else was played out, and everything was administered in front of us, the shots and everything. She didn't leave our side. She didn't go to the nursery. Everything that the doctor had to say or do to her was done in front of us like I requested. No pain meds. I got the lowest form of numbing in my back for the C-section. They gave me the lowest form of everything. I didn't get any pain medicine until I had pain medicine, but the lowest form of pain medicine like I requested. So just Tylenol, and it was just beautiful. They literally did everything. They couldn't control that I had a C-section, but they tried to make sure that they did everything else that I had said in my birth plan, and I'm just grateful. I was sad, of course, about not being able to have a natural birth, and I plan on going natural next time, but I'm happy that my whole pregnancy was natural and that I stayed in that mindset of natural and practiced meditating and hypnobirthing and all of that, and it helped even with having a C-section. And I know that next time, even if I have to have a C-section, I'm prepared, but I'm praying that I don't have to have one and that I get to experience natural birth. But if not, everything happens for a reason, and I'm just grateful. Okay, and I'm so happy and grateful that I do not have a scary C-section story like the stories that I've been told by family members that have it, like the horror stories that have happened to the women of color in my family. So I'm just grateful for that. And that's my birth story, you guys. And I've just been in my love bubble with her, and I'm just so happy to be a mother, and I'm just so grateful. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this, or hope you enjoyed this video, sorry. And if you have any questions, leave them below. I will be introducing her to you in another video, but right now it's just about the birth story. And yeah, and she's asleep anyways, so I don't want to wake her to introduce her, but we are great. and I have so many more videos to record and share with you, and I hope you enjoyed this. This was so nice to record and just sit and talk to you. And if you have any questions, like I said, leave a comment below. If you like this video, like it, and don't forget to subscribe and join the family. And yes, I hope you're having a great morning, afternoon, or night, whatever time of day it is when you watch this video. And I'll talk to you very soon, and stay happy, stay healthy, and stay safe.